As the song says, it is the most wonderful time of the year. But for many people, it can also be a very stressful time of the year. You definitely see it out in the shops with people seeming just a little bit more stressed and short tempered, harried. For some people, they are isolating during this period. They may be missing loved ones. My younger brother transitioned 3 years ago, about this time, actually, um, on December 15th to be exact. And this can be a time where you may not want to be around family or friends. You may be growing in different ways. And so traditions that maybe brought you joy at one point are more draining than joyful at this time. I definitely will recommend that you go back and watch our episode that was called Reaching for Joy. And there was a very poignant definition of joy that was shared in that video. So go watch that video with Dr. Nikita Murray. But today I just wanted to share very briefly a few tips that I use, that other people I have been mentored by use to address stress at this time and at any other time. It helps with grief. It helps with overall depression. Obviously, if you're clinically depressed, and I am not a clinician, but my understanding of that, and we went through that in the episode that I just referenced, Reaching for Joy, is that if you are finding yourself consistently down or more down than you usually would be, that might be a good tip to go and talk with a practitioner if you're having a hard time sleeping or focusing or getting things done. Just extreme changes in your behavior that are lasting, beyond just today was a rough day kind of things. You might want to go check that out, because if you need some additional assistance, certainly take it. But just some very basic tips from a non-clinician, clinician. So please still check in with your health providers on this. Is getting adequate sleep. This is a time when, again, people are maybe working a couple of jobs, making extra money, Ubering or door dashing or whatever it might be, working extra hours at work because you're trying to get caught up on work or get ahead on work so that you can take time off. Maybe you're one of the ones stuck at work because other people put in their time off before you, and now you've got to put in those hours when you don't want to. Whatever your case may be, try to find the time to get the sleep your body needs. And that differs for everybody. The experts say 7 to 9 hours. For some of us, that seems a little bit like a luxury. Certainly during the times when my children were much younger, when I had infants and toddlers, 7 to 9 hours, that would have been like, what happened? If my house is quiet for more than 3-4 hours at a time, what is going on? Let me go and make sure that the kids are fine, because I was nursing, and so I was waking up frequently to nurse kids. So yes, you may not be able to do 7 to 9 at a stretch, but what I would do even then is put them down to sleep. When they nap, try to nap. I know that tends to be a time when mothers, or if you're a father who's very involved as well, you're trying to catch up on work. And I certainly had those situations going on, but I would take time to squeeze in a little bit of sleep, just a 30-minute nap. Hydrating. I have found, in the research shows, when you're dehydrated, it creates all kinds of other issues with your body. Our body is mostly water. So make sure you're hydrating. And coffee is not the hydration I'm talking about. Non-caffeinated teas, perhaps, flavored water. Alcohol is not the hydration that I'm talking about. Let's go back to drinking water. If you're fortunate enough to be in a place where you can access water, drink water, not soda, not all these other energy drinks and so on and so forth. Exercise. These are some of the shortest days of the year for our hemisphere. I happen to be in Texas. You may be in a different hemisphere, so adjust to wherever you are. But when it gets dark earlier, sometimes here in Texas, it's the sun is still out at 8:30 at night. Well, now the sun is down at 5 something. Um, and so find time to exercise. And now with all the apps that exist, you can actually exercise indoors. You can create a playlist that's 20 minutes long, 25 minutes long, and just say, I'm going to dance until all these songs are played. You can skip rope. You can do a lot of calisthenics that don't even require you to have any extra equipment. But it's really important to keep your body strong and healthy, to keep those endorphins going just by exercising. So I've kind of got a routine going now where it's wake up in the morning and get at least 25 minutes of exercise in. I like to use free weights, but again, your body weight is awesome. And then I do things like if I'm in the courthouse and there's an elevator, but there's stairs, I'll take the stairs instead. I'll park a little bit further from the building so I'm getting a few more steps. So be sure to exercise. Eat, but eat healthy. Again, this is the time of the year. There are all these potlucks, all these parties going on at work and in other places, and we can tend to gorge on foods that are not healthy for us. We may tend to overeat, and then you kind of have that feeling. So this is a time to just, again, moderate yourself. Certainly enjoy your favorite foods, but everything in moderation. Certainly watch the alcohol, watch the sweets. This is a time when, as an attorney, we see a lot of people with DUIs and DWIs, and man, that there's no way to end the year, no way to start your new year. Not to mention, you could be putting your life and other people's lives at risk as well. So hydrate with water, I would say. If you've got to do flavored water, make it fancy. Strawberries, cucumbers, lemon, mint, things like that in your water. Go for it. The other thing that I love to do as well to just regulate myself is also do the things that bring you joy. For some of you, it is cooking. You might be talking with a friend. You might have some movies or documentaries you want to get caught up on. It might be books. Gardening is a big thing for me, and weather is not quite conducive to that, but there's still things that I piddle around with, and I certainly have plants within my home. Meditation. Again, we live in the information age, so there are books and there are apps. As a matter of fact, in the link, I'm going to include a link to my YouTube channel that just has 30 days of meditation, and none of them is more than 15 minutes, I believe. So it's just taking some time, maybe sitting in your vehicle or in the morning when you wake up or just before you go to sleep, meditating just a moment to take deep breaths in, reconnect with yourself, calm down, whatever madness is out there. Taking 10 minutes away from it, 15 minutes away from it, will help you at least figure out how to regulate yourself, regardless of the things that you don't have control over. So meditation, another great tool that you can use. Journaling. Again, you can write pen and paper like I like to do, but sometimes I also use my phone apps, and I will speak my journal, if you will, just sharing how I'm feeling and getting it out. Some of you may decide you want to get a therapist or a counselor, or you want to work with a life coach. And this is someone who's a sounding board but has certain strategies. So when challenges come your way, you have a thinking partner who helps you see things that you're not seeing, or pay attention to the things that you're not paying attention to, who helps you celebrate yourself, but also gives you strategies, very helpful strategies for you to move forward. And in journaling, one of the essential pieces I think of journaling is gratitude. Taking a moment out to just say, what am I grateful for? No matter how crazy things may be. Maybe finances are tight. Maybe, being around people where there are strained relationships. What can you be grateful in that moment? And again, this could be something you do for 5 minutes. You can do it in your head. You can speak it out loud. You can write it out. But what am I grateful for? Because whenever we can take the time to think about the things that we appreciate the things that, however bad things are, they could be worse. If you're watching this, you at least are alive, you have access to a device, and you have access to internet. That puts you um in a pretty good place compared to the vast majority of the world. So taking the time to say, what is good that I can celebrate? And it just kind of shifts your mood, understanding that whatever you focus on is where your energy goes. And whatever you focus on grows. So if you're always focusing on what's not working, then that affects your entire energy. And energetically, that's what you're putting out into the world, and that's what you're going to attract. Have you ever been upset about something and you're just like, "Ugh," and then the next thing you hit something with your toe? Now you fractured your toe, and or you weren't paying attention in that moment, and now you've hit somebody, or things happen. You dropped a glass. Now you've got to clean it up. So just taking the time to be grateful shifts where you are energetically and shifts everything that is also happening around you. I also love reading. I love to get the wisdom that other people have figured out and are sharing. So some books that I'm going to share with you, and we're going to talk a lot more about this book in the coming month as we really delve into what it takes to create that life that you want to live, that is within your control, because everything is not within our control. But what is it that we can control? And one of those books is Your Self-Love Revolution. um the subtitle is, it's a 30-day woman's guide to embracing divinity and creating the life you desire. But I'm telling you, men have read this book as well. If you're a human being, the book applies to you. But it's 30 days, very short chapters that give you a lesson, something to focus on, give you journal prompts, and it also gives you a meditation as well. And that meditation channel I mentioned earlier dovetails with this book. Another book that has just been absolutely amazing for me, particularly as a woman of African descent, is this book, My Grandmother's Hands. My Grandmother's Hands by Resma Menakem, Racialized Trauma and the Pathway to Mending Our Hearts and Bodies. What's not to like about pathways to mending our hearts and bodies? So if you're in a place where physically you're struggling with things, or mentally there's just been a lot, it's been a rough year, you've lost people you loved, positions, opportunities, things aren't quite where you thought they would be, My Grandmother's Hands, great book. Another book that I have read, reference it quite often, is a book by Malidoma Somé. He's now an ancestor, and it's called The Healing Wisdom of Africa. Certainly recommended, especially for people who, like me, of African descent, but you were raised maybe in a different religious tradition, Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism, whatever it is. But you are curious about, what did our ancestors celebrate? How did they show up as their spiritual selves way back then and continuing to today? And that this is one of the books. It's an entry point, and you will now want to reference other books and to read even more to understand how African societies existed for centuries without concepts of jails or mental institutions or orphanages or old people's homes. Imagine that. Or homelessness, as a matter of fact. These when we talk about us being civilized and developed today, and I'm like, are you serious? In the United States of America, that has what, 5% of the world's population, but 20%, I think, of all the incarcerated people are in the United States. Yeah, we might want to rethink, as we're the Rethinking Freedom. This is the Rethinking Freedom channel. I am your host, Aya Anelli, Aya Fubara Anelli. Yes, as we are rethinking freedom, we might want to rethink what we consider civilization is. And The Healing Wisdom of Africa by Malidoma Somé, really great book. And then finally, another book that I'll recommend, there are actually 3 books to this. It's The African People in European Holidays, A Mental Genocide. It's by Reverend Barashango. This is book 2 that I'm holding up, but there's a book 1 and there's a book 3. And what the series of books have done for me is to just help me to get past the propaganda and all the capitalism and the commercialization of so many of our holidays that we kind of feel compelled to celebrate. Here in the United States, Independence Day, or Halloween, which I don't celebrate, certainly how Christmas is celebrated, Hanukkah, all of these holidays that we've just made so much about commercial things. 4th of July, this book goes into helping us to rethink what we've been taught and to imagine a different way of being. So, loving my family and showing up for my family during these holy days, these holiday period, should not be so stressful. It should not cause me to max out my credit cards. It should not cause me to empty out my bank accounts. We should be able to love each other within the confines of whatever it is that we have. So, hopefully, these are tips that are beneficial to you. Would definitely encourage you to share your tips in the comment section, because let's share the love, let's share the wisdom, and let's help each other out. And if you're one who needs to take a time out on whatever it is, honor yourself and take the time out. I'm not a big I am a people person, but I am also introverted. So I don't want to do all of the holidays. I might want to do one or two parties and get dressed up and all of that, but I don't want it to become a chore or a burden, or oh, I've got to go buy this dress and do the hair and the nails and things like that. So I actually a lot of times decline on social events because it's just too stressful for me. And my close friends understand, and when it's something really important to them, I'll show up. I might not show for the whole time, but I'll show up. So figure out who you are, what works for you, and honor that. And above all, I hope that you make this holiday season what you need it to be, and you definitely take time to rejuvenate, to take stock of where you are, and to plan for where you want to be in 2025 as we end this calendar year. I hope that these tips were helpful. Leave a comment and let me know what you think and what you would like to see us cover here on Rethinking Freedom. Thank you for joining me. Again, I am your host, Aya Fabarinelli. Oh, and please like, subscribe, get the notification bell on for whenever we drop new information, new wisdom. That's what we're here for. And definitely share the great news with others. We greatly appreciate you for watching.